All right, guys. Welcome to the next Fit Focus Forum. Always appreciate whoever is on the call and appreciate even more whoever is able to watch this on the replay. And just to give you guys a little information on the replays, right? I know currently they're only in the group chat. And you gotta kind of scroll through the group chat to try to find them. What I'm doing is my assistant is going to start loading them into the app. So there's a section that is just the Fit Focus Forum calls. So you guys are able to go there in addition to me posting them in the group chat to be able to find any of the topics that we talked about in the Fit Focus Forum. So let's jump right in. Today's forum is about smart goal setting and the psychology of success. And when I say smart, I mean, yes, smart. We want to be smart about the goals we set, but SMART is actually an acronym for goal settings. All right. So I know that a lot of us have set goals in our lives and then just completely abandoned them. I know that I have myself. We've all been there. Maybe it was a fitness goal, maybe it was a career milestone, or just a commitment to drink more water, right? And yet, somewhere along the way, life gets in the way, motivation fades, and the goal is just, it disappears. So today, we're going to change that. We're going to dive deep into smart goal setting. But we're not stopping there. We're also going to cover why setting goals is crucial, the psychological and practical benefits of it, what SMART goals are and why they work, common mistakes that people fail when they are setting goals for themselves, the power of small wins and how they build momentum, and also how to use visualization and mindset techniques to make sure that you achieve your goals. And I think that's actually one of my favorite parts. So, by the end of this forum, you're going to have a clear, actionable roadmap to set goals that actually stick and see real, lasting progress. So let's get into it. Why do we even need goals is the first question here. Psychologically, our brains are wired to seek progress. When we set a goal and start working towards it, our brains release dopamine, which is the feel-good neurotransmitter. And I'm sure everybody on this call or watching the replay knows what dopamine is, right? We're all kind of chasing that dopamine high at some point in our lives, whether it's with marijuana or drugs or cigarettes or candy or sugar, because all of these things release dopamine. But this is why checking something off on a to-do list or hitting a milestone feels so satisfying. It's because of that dopamine release. But here's the catch. We don't get that dopamine boost just from setting the goal. We get it from progressing towards the goal. So that's why vague, unrealistic, or distant goals, they lead to frustration and most of the time quitting. And I'm sure we've all experienced that as well. So let's talk about the practical benefits of goal setting. First, we have direction and focus. So without a goal, you're just literally moving aimlessly. Like, goals actually give you a target to shoot for. There's also accountability. When you define what you want, it's really easier to hold yourself accountable. Measuring progress, a clear goal always allows you to track whether you're actually getting closer to the goal that you set for yourself. We also have increased motivation and productivity as well. When you see results, you want to keep going. And this is something that I tell people all the time. There's a million motivation books, and I think they were really big in like the 70s and the 80s too. I don't agree with motivation books. I firmly believe that it's action that leads to motivation and not the other way around. And that's exactly what I was just talking about. When you see results, when you take action, it motivates you to keep going. So if you really want to motivate yourself, you got to find out a way to start. Okay. And setting goals for yourself is a great way to start. So now that we understand the importance of goals, let's get into how to actually set them in a way that works. So the SMART goal framework is one of the most effective tools for goal setting. All right. This is a tool I don't just use, with my clients, but it's also a tool that I've used when I was a master educator for indoor cycling, when we were setting goals for any of my group fitness classes. And this can apply to anything that you want to set a goal for in your life. It doesn't just have to be fitness stuff. For me, that's just kind of like most of what's in my brain for the past 20 years. So SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, SMART. So let's break these down one by one. So the first one is specific. You want to define the goal clearly. So first, for each one of these, I'm going to give you a bad example. So as far as a specific goal goes, this is not a good one. I want to get in shape. It sounds nice, right? To say it out loud. I want to get in shape. I'm going to do really good this year. That's the direction I'm going to head in. A better example of this, to make it specific, is I want to lose 10 pounds in 12 weeks by lifting 4 days per week and eating 1,800 calories. Give me 1 second, guys. All right, going to keep going.
Sorry, yeah, sorry. Are you presenting anything on your screen like a PowerPoint or something?
Oh, no, it's just me.
Okay, cool. I wasn't sure because you were going through. All right, great.
We
All right,
do
cool.
have
Sorry.
Jeremy on the call today, guys, but Jeremy and I actually discussed it since it's just him on the call. I'm just going to kind of go through the topics today
No,
because he's cooking dinner as well. When you said, "Are you presenting?" I'm like, I think that's what I'm
no,
doing.
no, yeah, no,
That's
no.
I was
Don't.
really confused by your question.
Because you normally have a fucking presentation, like slides and stuff. So I wasn't sure.
I've
Okay.
done that before, and I've not done
Yeah.
that. It just kind of
All right.
depends on the day. There was a couple weeks ago where I used slides to show a few things, but yeah, no,
Yeah.
today it's just me talking like it was
Okay.
last
Cool.
week. All right.
All right. Cool. Thanks.
All right. Let's go into the second part, the M, which is measurable. All right. This is trackable progress. You're going to ask yourself, how will I know that I've achieved these goals? All right. So, a bad example here is, I want to get stronger, right? There's no way to measure that. What does that mean? So, a better example is, I want to increase my deadlift by 50 pounds in the next 8 weeks. And you can even set yourself even smaller achievable goals within that 8 week time frame. So if you're going to go to 50 pounds in 8 weeks, maybe every 2 weeks, you increase your weight by 10 pounds on the deadlift. If I did that math wrong, I'm sorry, I'm terrible at math in my head, but you guys get the point that I'm trying to lay down here. The third part is achievable, the A, realistic and within your control. Okay. If your goal is extreme, like I want to lose 30 pounds in a month, you're doomed to fail because, we know, at least my clients know, that that's not just usually not possible, but also not sustainable, right? So a bad example of this is, I'm going to work out 7 days a week. I'm never going to eat sugar again. Okay. And I'm sure a lot of us on this call have probably said that. Like when you go out drinking all night and you have a hangover the next day and you're like, I'm never drinking again. And then 2 days later, you have a glass of wine in your hand, right? That's exactly what's going to happen when you have that. I'm never going to eat sugar again. 2 days later, you're going to have a bag full of chocolate in your hand. All right. A better example of this would be I will work out 4 days a week and limit sugar to special occasions. What's up, Deb? How you doing? I can't hear you, but that's all right. Hey,
Sorry, I'm late.
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We're a little into it, but there's going to be a replay. So if you want, you can totally catch up on the first part of it when I post it in the group chat. All right.
All right, cool.
Okay. Awesome. All right, guys. So now we're on to relevant, which is the R in the SMART. So does it align with your values and your priorities? Okay. Um, cool. Your goals should connect to your deeper why. All right. So a bad example of this is I want to run a marathon because everyone else is doing it. Right. That really has nothing to do with you. Right. You're looking at other people and trying to achieve the things that they want to achieve without really discovering about yourself why you want to achieve this goal. So a better example of this is I want to run a marathon because I love challenging myself and improving my endurance. So there's your why. And with anything we do in life, regardless if it's a fitness thing or a personal goal or a job goal, there needs to be a why. Like, why am I doing this? One of the biggest things I got out of any leadership presentation that I've been in or book that I've read, they always talk about what is your why. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't know what your why is, then you're never going to succeed at what you're doing. All right. Uh, the T, it stands for time bound. Okay. This is giving yourself a deadline. So this is one of my favorite sayings as well. A goal without a timeline is just a wish. All right. This is something that I've been saying since like day one when I got into fitness because it's absolutely true. So a bad example of this is like, I'll start eating healthier. Okay. That sounds nice, right? It sounds like a good goal. I'm really happy that you want to start eating healthier, but a better example of that would be I will eat 5 servings of vegetables daily for the next 30 days. which is great. And, for those of you that have been in the program for a little bit, you know that we set a timeline for you to achieve your goals. Okay. And we actually give you the numbers that you need to make sure that it's measurable. All right. Okay. So let's talk about common goal setting mistakes. Okay. So now that we understand how to set smart goals, let's talk about the most common mistakes that people make when setting goals and working towards their goals. These mistakes are why so many people fall off track. It's really easy to get frustrated, and it's really easy to feel like you're not making progress. So the good news is that these mistakes are fixable, but let's break them down first and talk about how to avoid them. So the first one here is setting goals that are too big. Now, I've done this in the past, and I'm sure we all have. You try to go from zero to hero overnight, right? And this is a huge mistake. A lot of people set huge goals right away, thinking that they'll magically transform overnight. Maybe it's, again, I'll lose 50 pounds in 3 months, or I'll start working out every day starting on Monday, even if you've never worked out before in your life. I'm going to cut out all sugar, alcohol, and fast food, and I'm never going to look at it again, right? These sound great on paper, but they are way too extreme and unsustainable. And every single one of you that is watching this knows that the modified macro method is about sustainable, long-term, lasting results. All right. So this fits right into that. Why is this a problem to set goals that are so big and unattainable? Well, it's overwhelming, first of all, right? The goal feels impossible. You'll quit before you even get started. It really leads to burnout rather quickly, actually, because you're trying to do too much too fast. Like, I don't know about you, but if I, decided that I was going to cut out chicken fingers and pizza for the rest of my life, I'm going to burn on that really quickly. I'll probably have a plate of both of those at the same time in 2 weeks. And I'm not joking. That is an actual real world example for myself. And then if you don't hit an unrealistic goal, you end up feeling like a failure. And when you feel like a failure because you haven't achieved your unrealistic goal, there goes the motivation, right? Because what happens when you don't hit that unrealistic goal is you stop taking action. And as I said a moment ago, it is action that leads to motivation and not the other way around. So the fix for this, instead of I'll lose 50 pounds in 3 months, reframe it as I'll lose 1 to 2 pounds per week by tracking my meals and working out 3 to 4 times a week. Now you have actionable, measurable goals that are going to help you achieve your long-term goal, which is probably going to be to get to that 50 pounds. Instead of I'll work out every day, especially if you've never worked out before in your life or you haven't worked out for a long time. Start with 3 to 4 times a week and then build from there. So you're going to start small, consistent, and sustainable, and it's going to lead you to where you want to be. The second one is having no action plan. So not defining the daily steps that you need to reach the goal. So the mistake here is that a lot of people set a big goal and don't break it down into small actionable steps. They say, we'll go back to the marathon example. I want to run a marathon, but they don't follow a training plan, right? I want to gain muscle, but they don't have a structured workout routine. I want to eat healthier, but you never create a meal plan or follow a blueprint or have a shopping list or track the food that you're eating. So why is this a problem? Is because the goal stays an idea instead of a real plan. Basically, we're back to that thing where it's just a wish, without a plan, it's just a wish. Without small steps, it feels really overwhelming so that you never start. That goes back to what we were talking about before. Large, overwhelming goals never get to where you need to be. You need to break it down into smaller things that are going to keep moving you forward. And then there's no clear direction. So you really just end up frustrated and lost. And what happens when you're frustrated and lost? Exactly what I said just a second ago. You lose your motivation and you go right back to square one, or you stop doing it all completely. So the fix for this is to break the goal into weekly and daily tasks. So instead of I want to run a marathon, start with I'm going to run 3 times a week, increasing the mileage by 10% each week, right? Instead of I want to eat healthier, you want to set a specific meal plan, prep plan for the week. So maybe I want to eat healthier means I'm going to make sure that I spend an hour meal prepping on Sunday, even if it's not for every day, even if it only takes me through Wednesday, I know I did something. You know what I'm saying? Another issue here is not tracking your progress, okay? And if you don't track, you're not going to know if you're improving on the goals that you've set for yourself. Okay. The mistake here is that people start working towards a goal, but they don't track anything. They just hope for progress and then wonder why they're not getting results. Okay. I've talked to so many people on calls that experience this exact thing. I'm doing so much. I'm doing so much. I'm doing so much. Why am I not seeing the results that I want to see? Right. And it's because you're not tracking your progress. All right. So examples of this are I'm trying to lose weight, but you never weigh yourself or track your food intake. Right. I'm working out more, but you don't log your workouts or you track your strength progress, right? You don't know when to increase your weights. You don't know how many times a week you worked out for the past 5 weeks because it's all over the place because you have a crazy schedule. Something outside of the state of fitness, maybe you're trying to save money, but you don't budget or you don't track your spending. I'm going to raise my hand on that one because I'm fucking terrible at it. I'll admit when I'm human, and I've always been terrible at the money thing, but you want to know how to get better at handling your money? Well, start a business and have employees. Because then you actually have no choice because it forces you to do it. So there are other ways to get here, but you guys get my point. All right. So this is a problem because you can't improve on what you do if you don't measure. So if you're not tracking, you're not going to know what's working and what's not. And it's really easy to get discouraged. If you don't see the progress right away, you might assume that nothing is happening when in reality, small wins are adding up, but you don't see them in your face, right? You guys are all working with me. So we're tracking as much as we possibly can. We can see when we're getting stronger because our weights are increasing or we've increased reps. We can see when our weight is going down. We can see when our body fat percentage changes, right? So all of you guys, at least with me, are good with this. But, we're not going to be together forever. So I want you to keep all of this stuff in mind, not just for the fitness stuff when you and I at some point, go our separate ways, but also for everything else that you're doing in your life, regardless of if it's with work, your personal life, or your fitness routines. Okay. Another thing is there's no accountability. Like if you're not writing things down without tracking, it's really easy to let things slide, So I'm going to get 5 workouts in this week, right? And I'm going to make sure that I increase my weights over the next month. But then you get to week 3 and you're like, I'm going to actually skip, my deadlift day this week because I'm tired. Because you don't have in front of you that you've been making progress. So you've lost some of the motivation that you would have if you saw that over the course of the past 3 weeks, you were able to add 5 pounds every week. And if you took out your phone and you saw that you were able to add 5 pounds every week, then you wouldn't let that deadlift day slide just because you were tired from getting home from work. Does that make sense? Devin, you're the only one I can see. So you got to shake your head yes or no. Okay, good. So the fix here, guys, is just track the right metrics for your goal. So if you're doing weight loss, all right, you're going to track your weight, your measurements, and your photos. We do all of those things together. Strength, make sure that you log the weights that you're lifted and the reps completed. Again, if you're working with us, you're already doing that. So you guys are on the right track. Nutrition, use a food log, meal tracking app. That's the Safe and Fitness app right there. I know some of you are using MyFitnessPal, but we're already doing all 3 of these things. But think about how you could apply tracking to other things in your life besides just what you're doing in fitness. Because, the things that you guys and I are doing together are for us to achieve specific goals, like in your fitness routines, right? And in your lives. But I'm hoping that us working together gives you ideas on how to apply these techniques to other areas of your life, right? Because it's not just fitness where all of these things work. The SMART goal setting acronym works basically anything that you're doing in any area of your life, all right? The next thing here is no accountability. So if no one knows your goal, it's easy to quit when things get tough. I'll preface this by saying, again, you guys have a ton of accountability right now, right? If we see that you're not doing the work, we have conversations. We try to figure out how to get you back on track. If you're not logging your food, we figure out what's going on. Maybe we step it back a little bit and just start taking pictures again. You and I, we already have that thing going for us, right? But, people set goals in secret most of the time, and they don't tell anyone or get support, right? And it's easy to think, if I don't tell anyone, I'm not going to be embarrassed if I fail. That's a really big one, right? If you fail at something, first of all, failure is the only way to succeed. Winning doesn't help you succeed. Failure does. So I always want you to keep that in mind. That's what teaches us the most. But But yeah, it can be embarrassing if you have not gotten to your goals and you've told someone. Hopefully that person is supportive, but we're human beings and we're anxious human beings, most of us, right? So it makes that embarrassment even worse. And then there's also, I'll just motivate myself, right? But when that motivation dips, because maybe you didn't track your food one day or you missed a workout and you don't feel like you're taking action, there's no one there to help you stay on track. This makes it easier to make excuses and quit. There's no external support or encouragement. And, we're more likely to show up when we know someone is expecting us to. So, outside of this program, the fix here is to get an accountability partner, right? If you've got a friend that you really trust or a family member, let them know what your goals are and just be like, hey, can you check on me on a week and see how I've progressed on this? Like, I won't take too much of your time. I need some accountability here and I need to know that someone's watching. I guarantee you a lot more people in your life are going to be open to hearing that and excited for your goals and your progress than not. And, just kind of a side note, if you do tell someone that and they talk negatively about the goals that you're setting for yourself, I want you to really think about your relationship with that person in the first place, right? Surround yourself with people that want you to succeed all of the time. Their groups are great too, right? Not all of us have access to like in-person groups, but we're now in the age of the internet, right? In video calls. And, there are groups that you can find online that you can enjoy and join. I know there's book clubs, there's workout clubs, there's all sorts of stuff, right? Depending on what your goals are. In addition to that, Facebook groups. Facebook groups are a really good way to keep yourself accountable as well. There's some really good Facebook groups out there for whatever goal you're trying to achieve. Announcing your goal publicly to someone who, announcing your goal publicly or to someone who's going to check in on you, right? Using an app or a tracker that reminds you to stay on track. I've turned it off because it drives me crazy, but I know that, the Apple Watch has that thing that tells you to stand up a certain amount of times every day. I had to turn it off. But there are things like that. There are water apps. There are sleep apps. That tell you to go to sleep. My Apple phone tells me that it's time to wind down 15 minutes before bed. I actually listen to it now. I've actually set it to a half an hour because it takes me a little longer to fall asleep. So those apps are really great for accountability. And then joining a community like the group we have in the Safe and Fitness app. You're going to get support there. You're going to get motivation. You're going to see other people's successes, which is going to drive you to do more. All right. And the last thing I want to say here is focusing only on the outcome and not the process. So, enjoying the journey really makes it a lot easier. People get so obsessed with the result that they want to achieve that they forget to enjoy the process or the road that it takes them to get there. I just want abs now. I need to be in shape by summer. I won't be happy until I hit my goal weight. If you only focus on the end result, you're going to feel frustrated if the progress is slow. You're not going to celebrate the small wins along the way, which we've talked about already. And you're going to quit soon because you're not there yet, right? So you have to give yourself grace. And I use that word with a lot of you often, especially when you're coming down on yourselves for not being exactly where you need to be on a check-in. Give yourself grace. Take a step back. Look at the positive things that have happened. What have you done in the past week that did move you towards your goals, even if it wasn't exactly what you wanted it to do? And don't ever think that, the outcome is the only thing that matters. The more we enjoy the journey, the more that we're going to be able to stay on track. So you're going to shift your mindset from I have to I get to. And I actually, I was just on a conversation with a client, and I hope that he watches this because he's going to know exactly what I'm talking about today. And we were talking about how words matter with the chemistry in your brain, right? So instead of saying like, I have to do this, immediately your brain is like, all right, we want to do this. And it starts doing what it needs to do to make you not want to do the work, right? It gets worse. When you say, all right, I get to go to the gym today, saying that out loud rather than the other phrase, chemically, your brain operates differently. And you're going to be more likely to go to the gym and get the work done. All right. And again, I'm referencing this to going to the gym, but this can reference food logging or anything else outside of the physical activity realm as well. Enjoying your daily wins is good. Reframing. That's exactly what it's called. Yes. Reframing. One way to reframe is that I use myself. Since we're on the topic, I'll share a little bit more. I have really bad anxiety, and I've been really working hard the past year and a half to try to make it better. And I've done a really good job of getting myself to a good place. But one of the things that I do to reframe my mind in the morning before work, because I love you guys, but sometimes work is stressful, and it's not just you. There's a lot of other stuff going on outside. Every job is at some point. So in order to put myself into a positive mindset, right, to reframe, I sit down with the only pad that I still have in paper. I make sure that it's paper. There's something about writing on paper for this particular exercise that does well for me. I write down 5 things that I'm positive about with work, and then 5 things that I'm positive about with my husband in New York City. It was a little difficult for me to move back here. So that's when I started doing that type of gratitude journaling. But it completely reframes my brain, right? Now, when I go into work, regardless of what's thrown at me in the first hour of work, because that's usually when I find out the things that need to be fixed during the day, I'm going into it with a more positive mindset. And it's directly related to what we're talking about here. By the way, if you guys aren't gratitude journaling, it takes literally 30 seconds to a minute to write down 5 things you're thankful for in the morning, and can have the biggest effect on the way that you see the rest of your day, especially if you have a job that's extremely stressful all the time. Creating rewards for progress is really good too. So, let's say you lost a few pounds, or you got to all your workouts for 2 weeks. Go buy some new workout gear. Get a new pair of shoes. I did that to myself last week. I was feeling really good about some stuff. So I'm like, I'm not somebody who likes a lot of shoes. I'm not like a fashion gay. Like, I know how to dress. I know how to look cute. Yeah. Like, I like my t-shirts. Like, this one fits well. It's a Mr. S leather shirt. I love it. But like, I don't have like 15, 20, 30 pairs of shoes. My husband does. Even though he's not like a super fashion kid, he just loves shoes, like having all these different options. I started the week out with 1 pair of sneakers, and now I have 4. I just went on Amazon, and I was like, I never really buy sneakers for myself. And I was really just in a good mood about where we were, me and, the people that work with me were celebrating some successes that we had. So it was really great. And it made me feel really good just to buy the shoes that I never buy for myself. So simple little things like that. Again, it all has to do with the chemicals that are processing in your brain and how your brain is seeing the world. Reality is what you make of it. All right. So rest days are a good way to reward yourself. Don't be afraid to reward yourself with a rest day. Fun meals, and that's exactly what we call them. We do not call them cheat meals. This is your 20%. I've been amazing all week, even though, I'm stuck at the coffee shop and I'm having to eat the food that they have there. I've been making really good choices. Now I'm going to go have a pizza on Friday because I just fucking love pizza and red wine. So just, reward yourself with the things that are going to make you happy, and it's going to motivate you to keep moving further, right? Another thing is just to focus on habits and not the scale, right? The habits are what matters. That's what we're working on. We're working on changing your habits. It's not just the scale, the number on the scale that's showing you success, all right? When you see those habits changing, when you walk into a gas station when you're on a road trip and you reach for beef jerky instead of a bag of Doritos, then something's happened in your brain that has programmed you to reach for something different than you used to. This is assuming you used to reach for the Doritos all the time. Does that make sense? You get my point? Yeah. And that's a really great recognition to have for yourself, because there's something going on that's going to be permanent. So I want to talk also about visualization and mindset for goal success. Why does visualization work? Your brain doesn't know the difference between something you're vividly imagining and something that actually happens. So studies have shown that people who mentally rehearse success are far more likely to achieve their goals. So I'm just giving you guys a couple tips on how to visualize for your goals, right? Picture yourself achieving the goal. Like, what does it look like? Like, if you want to understand if you want to visualize what it looks like to maybe lose that 5 pounds, like, close your eyes and just think about what you would look like. And let it make you happy. Be like, well, I'm actually taking the steps to move in this direction. So this picture I have of myself is fantastic, right? If you're going to run a marathon, right? Imagine what it will look like to cross the finish line. It's simple little shit like that makes a huge difference in the way that you think about yourself. Think about how you feel, right? How is something going to make you feel when you do it? I don't want to go to the gym today, right? But I'm going to sit here and close my eyes for a second. And I'm going to remember, oh, yeah, I went to the gym the past 2 days and I kind of felt like this, even though it wasn't as bad. But when I got home, I felt great. That's visualization. It doesn't always have to be a picture of what things look like, it can be how you feel. Positive affirmations are great. Again, this is reframing, instead of, God, I hope I can do this, right? That's putting question in your mind if you're capable or have the power of doing something. You're going to say, I'm fully capable of achieving this no matter what stands in my way, right? That can have a huge effect on you being able to achieve your goals. And then writing down your goals and reading them daily. I have my goals written down. Those are actually on the computer, right? I really only use the pen and paper for the gratitude journaling, but just having them there, right? I know I like to use the computer sticky notes on the Apple for that, so that every time I go to my desktop, it's there. And whether I'm reading it directly or not, it's in my peripheral vision, so that I always have my goals reminded to me, right? And then at some point, I just read them to myself. I like to read things out loud. I like to sound like a crazy person and walk around the house talking to myself. I actually think that's a really positive thing. As long as I don't actually think somebody else is there, then maybe we can have a different conversation. But saying things out loud so that you can hear yourself talk, looking at yourself in the mirror and staring yourself in the eyes and saying positive things about yourself, all of this goes in line. You can use that with your goals as well. If you feel like you're doing something, you feel like you're failing at something, walk up to the mirror, look yourself in the eyes. Don't flinch. It's not easy to look yourself in the eye sometimes. And look at yourself and just take all of the negative things that you were thinking, think of the reverse statement and say them out loud to yourself in the mirror. It is amazing the change in mindset you can have from doing that one simple thing. So, the final thoughts here really are, I just want to wrap up reminding you guys of what we talked about today, so that you can leave here thinking a little bit more about it. And then, of course, you can watch the replay if there's anything that you forgot. But here's what we covered today, right? If you came in late or you're watching on the replay, why setting goals is crucial, what SMART goals are and why they work, common goal setting mistakes and how to fix them, how small wins lead to massive success, and then the power of visualization and mindset. All right. So I know that there's only two of you on the call right now, and I really appreciate you guys coming. By the way, Deb, sometimes there's two, sometimes there's 10. We've had, all in between and all over the place based on people's schedules. But Jeremy or Deb, do you have any questions or any thoughts that you want to share about what I just talked about?
Yeah, I think it was funny that you brought up the whole mirror thing. I saw something online. I think it was Mel Robbins or something. She was like, anytime you feel like you're not good enough, look yourself in the mirror, don't say anything, and then give yourself a high five in through the mirror. It may sound weird because like you never go up to a person, give them a high five, and say, "Hey, you suck." Right? A high five is meant to be
Well,
good job. Oh,
I'm
you.
I'm a
But
New Yorker, so actually
well,
I
there
do
you
do
go.
that, but I'm just kidding.
But
Hey,
it's
you
supposed to,
suck.
yeah, it's supposed to like make you feel like you're talking positive energy into yourself. That's why it's funny that you brought it up. It just made me think of that.
One of the reasons I put it in here, not only because it's part of what I believe is related to the topic we're talking about, but there is an Instagram video of Sia. How do you say her name? The one that used to wear the hair in front of her face. She's a lot older now, first of all, and she's got dreads.
Yeah, see
Um,
it. I think yeah.
she was walking down the street. It looked like New York, but I'm not sure. And somebody walked up to her and asked her um, something about your secret to this. Like, do you mind if we talk? She was really nice, actually, and she was talking about how you can change the way you see the world and yourself by looking in the mirror and taking all of the negative thoughts that you have about yourself every day and repeating the exact opposite to yourself. And if you can do that successively for a certain amount of time, she actually gave a time frame, but I'm not sure how scientifically backed her time frame was. She's like, you're going to change the way that you feel about yourself and you're going to be a much happier person. That is 100% true. Right.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. For you guys specifically, since I always like to bring it back to what we're doing, if you feel like you're failing at something or you've just started a whole new set of workouts and you've never worked with this equipment before or something, and you feel like you're not doing a good job because it's your first week, or even if you're like 6 weeks in and you have a week where you haven't, food logged, and, even though your body hasn't changed because you're still eating well, you see something different in the mirror because that's what happens. Take all of those negative thoughts and just reverse them and say them to yourself in the mirror, staring yourself in the eyes. I think staring yourself in the eyes intently is a really great way to connect with yourself and change your mindset. And it's also a really great way to practice staring other people in the eyes as well, which I really love doing now, actually. For other reasons, okay, this is going to sound weird, but I like making people a little uncomfortable when I do that, because I think that uncomfortableness that I'm making them, I'm hoping it pushes them towards being able to do that with other people. I wanted to make sure that came out right. I was also a group fitness instructor for fucking 20 years. So me looking people in the eyes was like part of my job. We actually just signed a new client today, and he said, was it him on the phone today, the insanity? Or I was talking to one of our current clients. I'm sorry, it may have been one of our current clients. But anyway, talking about doing insanity, and hurt his knee doing insanity. No, it's our new client that's coming on. We just finished his onboarding. And I was telling him how I used to do group fitness, and I know all the people that was in the video with Sean T. And that guy, Sean T, is one of the I kind of studied the way that he used the room. And I got to work with actually one of the people that worked with him. She was my mentor as a group fitness instructor. But that was one of the things that we talked about, connecting with people, how we connect people in the room, looking at people in the eyes, and just, trying to get that connection with them to motivate them to think differently about the action they're taking at the moment when it applies to group fitness. All right, guys. Any other questions? Anything else you want to chat about? Cool. I really appreciate you being here, Jeremy and Dev. I appreciate even more anybody that's watching this on the replay. As I mentioned at the beginning, I'm going to my assistant has a little bit of work to do, but we're working on putting these into the app, so that if you don't make it, you don't have to scroll through the group chat to try to find it. We're going to put them all in a place in the app so that you can find all of these Fit Focus forums in one place. All right?
Awesome. All right.
All right, cool. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate you being here.